So the current Bitcoin price is $20,082. You can see that there's been quite a few attempts to break the 20K mark. So I figured, well, since we're coming into the quarterly close and there's a lot of macro things that are going on, let's start off on a higher time frame and then we'll work our way down into the lower time frames for those of you who might be scalpers looking for intraday trades. I will also touch on that a little bit. It's going to still be a relatively quick show. For those of you that don't know me, since I'm usually living on the Crypto Shorts channel, my name's Kyle. I'm one of the technical analysts. I'm sure most of you are familiar with me, but for those of you who don't, you're welcome to have a look in the link in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter. I do keep everybody up to date on this. So let's get straight into it. The Bitcoin price over here is $20,079. We have this quarterly chart over here, and I have marked out two important levels. So for those of you that understand technical analysis and you put all emotions aside and you just say, well, a chart is a chart is a chart, this is what we have in front of us today, and it really looks like it's going to be heading down to that ultimate level, at least from a higher time frame perspective. That's not to say that there will be zero bounces along the way. I mean, something like this could happen at any point. You could target this area as your mid-range. It could deviate, go back above, and then eventually come down. But ultimately, for those of you who kind of keep maybe like 50% in cash at all times, and that's kind of sitting in the bank account, you know, you're not earning any interest on that. I know in the US, you guys get something like 0.2% interest or something ridiculous. You may as well put that into an exchange and set some sneaky low bid. So my advice would be the two main areas of interest are coming in at $13,880. The other one's going to be $10,760, and that is for Bitcoin. It really doesn't look good. I'll put it on a monthly chart, and then I also just want to show you with regards to what the MACD looks like. You can see that the MACD histogram is actually strengthening to the downside, so there's absolutely no relief. You kind of want to be looking for a sort of tick up. You see how that color changes and becomes a little bit lighter? That kind of is your first signal that maybe there is some sort of a bounce or a major reversal, but as you can see, this is just strengthening to the downside. So this bear market is absolutely brutal. It's definitely taking a lot of money from a lot of people. So I encourage you to be very cautious when you take your entries. Let's have a look at Ethereum for those of you that want to do the same thing on Ethereum. Now, it's very hard for me to believe that we could come as low as $291, but the ultimate support does lie in that area for Ethereum. The next level, which is the most likely, I think there's a very high probability that we do eventually tag this one way or another, whether it's in the next quarter or the quarter after that, but that would be $743 for Ethereum. Set your bids over there. Let's have a look at the histogram over here. It should be somewhat similar to what Bitcoin has. Okay, if we have a look at that, let's just quickly get that away. Then it's exactly the same, right? So you have your... All right, let's just move that up there. Perfect. So if you have a look at the histogram over here, this one's got 3 bars. Same thing. It is strengthening to the downside. Let's just clear that. All right, moving on from that, I'm going to go on to a weekly chart, which this has kept us out of a lot of trouble. For those of you who followed me from the beginning when I joined Crypto Banter, I joined Crypto Banter in the 1st of December, around the 1st of December. I only started with the shows somewhere around this level over here when we're at about 40K. So I said, watch for this bounce over here. Most likely going to be a dead cat bounce, any sort of when the 21 EMA on a weekly chart is angled down, even if price captures back above that, until it starts angling upwards, I take it as a fake out and a major trap. Also, if you took the Fibonacci retracement level from there down, it came straight into the 0.37, which is a common area where traps get set. I sold everything over there, and it's kind of still acting in exactly the same way. We've worked from level to level. We had this level, we said once price started messing around over here, we're most likely going to lose it and go much down further. Now, how much further could this go down? Well, you have your primary liquidity zone over here, this box, which is coming in. It marks out historical areas of significance from the previous all-time high, as well as this area where price broke through the 20K in the last bull run and really started to take off. But I'm not really comfortable with the way that price is hanging around in these low areas, which is why I think things may be worse than a lot of people understand. I would be anticipating the potential for still lower prices, and the reason for that is we have the 200 moving average on the weekly chart. We have one close, two close, and unless price absolutely rallies out of here right now, we're probably going to get the third close. Once you start closing below the 255, that's never happened before. We've only wicked below that level twice, actually. Then I would say that the thesis of this chart over here starts to become a reality of tagging that 13,880. So my advice to those of you out there who do have available capital is really just be cautious with your money, save it for real panic and blood in the streets. At the moment, this has been a very systematic and controlled sell-off. We haven't had actual real panic yet, where you just see like major wicks to the downside, and you want to capture that liquidity over there. Ethereum is going to look very much the same as this. Anytime that these moving averages are pointed down, if you see the purple 200 or 255 MA on the weekly chart start to angle down like this, then long term that would be an extremely bad thing. It's never happened before. So those are the things that I'm kind of watching, which is why I'm extra careful on my entries. All right, let's have a look where there is a bull run, which is in the DXY. The DXY looks powerful. It's continuing up. You can see that we actively making higher highs and higher lows throughout. I want to see how this quarter as well as the week closes, but it's just systematically going up in pretty much the exact opposite of what crypto is doing or what Bitcoin's doing. Let's turn the NASDAQ here onto a weekly chart. You can see same thing. Yesterday, we confirmed the lower high. So previous lower high coming in over here, just below the key quarterly, broke that down. Once we lose this level and this liquidity box, I'd say we would accelerate quite quickly for hopefully what will be the last leg down, and that's to the key quarterly at 247, which I'm targeting the pre-COVID levels, right? So anywhere within this liquidity zone is the first and closest place that I will start to look to buy potential reversals and bounces on crypto. And it's really going to be the same throughout. You have your US 30, so the government bonds, the yield curve, and it's so far looking bullish. If it clears above this liquidity box, then it's mega bullish. So we need to see how it reacts over here. We got a wick into there and some sort of a pullback, which is why the equity market had a slight rally. Looking at Bitcoin dominance over here, again, this is going to give you or paint the picture at least on what's going on with altcoins. I'll make it a lot bigger here for you. But I mentioned in the newsletter yesterday and a couple of days before that, that this is what I'm watching. I'm looking for a tag of this 42.76 level on the dominance. And as each week passes, of course, I'm going to keep rising that. So whether that happens this week or in another week, I'd imagine that would be pretty much the last of the run for the altcoins. And then I'm looking for some sort of a deviation, right? So down, bounce off, deviation, recapture the mid-range, and then start targeting towards the range high. If you clear that range high, then yeah, I mean, altcoins will really suffer. Then you can start targeting towards the top of the range over here, which are levels that we haven't seen for quite a long time. Remember that when price moves down very quickly, whatever chart you're looking at, when you see a rapid acceleration like this and consolidation like that, it either means that you're going to break again to the downside, or you're going to move just as quickly back up and recapture that level over there. So I'm paying close attention to the Bitcoin dominance. I would anticipate that in a major sell-off of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin dominance should rapidly pick up and altcoins will lose a lot of steam. So I won't go into too much detail on the stock market like the Dow Jones and everything, because they all really look the same. They're quite close. Let's quickly measure out how much further it's got. I mean, it's another 7% move, which could potentially be up to maybe 30 to 50% on crypto to the downside. So that's what I'm watching over there. On the daily over here, I've got the volume bars, which is the first and most notable thing over here. You can see declining volume on the daily. This is the moon chart. So astrology, you can just type in over there, MP moon phases. I'm definitely not the biggest fan of astrology. I don't really use it for, relationships or day-to-day matters. But when it comes to charting, it has really worked phenomenally well. And today you should see a moon similar to these ones. I think it's some full moon or something like that, which is going to print on the top side. And that usually is an indication of a bad thing. Not to mention that you have the moving average 22, which has been governing price towards the downside, right? So any sort of a push into this area, I would actually be looking to short, and you can kind of see what's happening now, right? So you got your low, or you got your lower high, another lower low. If this is going to already be your next lower high, then there's probably going to be one more flush to the downside. And it's actually better if we could just get a capitulation candle. The pain will be over a lot quicker. This kind of sideways grinding down it's terrible. It takes forever. It's painful for everybody to watch, Okay, I've got this chart over here on Bitcoin, and this is essentially on the 4-hour chart. I have my most important EMAs up, which is the 21, which is the yellow one. You got the 50, the purple, and the 200 EMA, which is the light blue one over here. And all of them are angled down. Price is stuck below. And I did mention yesterday in the newsletter that I was very skeptical of this move, because at the end of the day, as a trader, you should always put trend first and foremost above everything else. So you have your lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then this is where the next higher low was yesterday. And I wrote in the newsletter, for those of you who are subscribed, I said in here that I remain very, very skeptical. So have a look at these charts over here. It's Bitcoin on the 4-hour. Let's just see what I mentioned over here. I said that however, just to be absolutely clear, I lean more towards this being a consolidation range, meaning that although there is some sort of an uptrend being established, I'm skeptical of the uptrend. And the reason why is because it looked very choppy, right? It's like kind of like not a clean higher low. The next higher high was marginal when you look at this level over here. So you want to compare the closing bodies over there to the closing bodies over there. It's such a small difference. It was like splitting hairs, I want to see clean higher highs. I wanted to see higher low over here, next higher high, smash into the range high, pull back, set the next higher low relative to this area over here, and then a push up from there. And then I'd feel more comfortable once we clean that range. So there's definitely value in those newsletters. If you have a look over there, I put all my thoughts down on paper, and I give you the exact levels to look out for as well. Looking at Ethereum, now, Ethereum has a little bit of a cleaner chart, to be honest. You got your higher high, higher low, higher high, and then now we need to watch. Look, if this recaptures this area as a higher low, this actually would bode better than what Bitcoin is. But the important thing to note is that the EMAs is all pointing down, and you have price stuck below those EMAs. So you need to be very careful with any sort of longs that you take. But an uptrend is an uptrend nevertheless, and the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. So where are we now? For now, I'm talking to the guys that are maybe on a more lower time frame, right? So momentum oscillators on the 4-hour chart. Well, let's first look at the daily, just to give you perspective. The dailies are starting to curl back down. So it depends on what happens on the 4-hour. If it stays that low, then you can anticipate that all these momentum oscillators are going to cross back down, and that's going to be bad for price. So 8-hour down, 8 hours already reached the bottom, but these things can stay lower longer than what you anticipate. But nevertheless, you do have a very easy risk to reward ratio. So if you are a degenerate gambling trader and you can't sit on your hands and you absolutely have to take a trade, okay, here it is. Look, you have your slight uptrend, right? You got your lows, your higher high, higher low, next higher high. If this level holds, this is it right here. You have the dotted line, which I did also point out in that newsletter yesterday, would be your range. I mentioned on Twitter, I said that I wouldn't be surprised over here autocorrect, by the way. Ranger traders, a lot of people ask, what's a ranger trader? I meant range traders would be taking a quick bid at the bottom of that line. And that's exactly what you can see is happening over here at this level. You can see the wicks over here that are picking up. But I personally am remaining neutral. There is a possibility if you were to set your bids over here, you could put your stop loss. Maybe you can enter in a couple of orders, because I do think that we could wick a little bit lower. I think that you could kind of see something like this down over there, as long as you're holding this wick over here. I want to see price hold above that, and that's coming in at $19,616. If you start to lose that level, especially with any candles that close under there, it's done. Then you've lost the trend. The trend has changed now. You've now officially taken out the next higher low, and you've made a lower low. So that's bad. You don't want to see that, right? So have a look. What I do when I try and take these trades is I'll rather look at the 1 hour chart over here to kind of front run. I prefer to trade when certain levels get cleared, and for those levels to clear, you can see the Bollinger Bands are starting to pinch and squeeze. I don't have an OnlyFans account, but James does, and I'll definitely put it out on Twitter for whoever's asking about that. So if you have a look over here, Bollinger Bands are starting to squeeze. As they get tighter, price starts to enter into this sort of consolidation, and that's when you always see us draw those kind of triangles, right, where price is going to break out of that triangle. So I would watch for that. I would watch for the trend line to be cleared. You could probably, let's see how this will fit in if I try and draw a trend line right here. And now, nah, I don't like it. It doesn't fit very well. So main trend line still remains this one over here. I want to see price basically get above this. Price can get back above this, retest over there. You can work with something, right? You set a new higher high, buy off the next higher low. So what do you do if price comes up into this area over here? Well, it's probably better for a short, right? If price comes up like this, you see something like this coming up to 20,667, you have a better shorting opportunity. I like to enter in phases personally, which is 1, which is 2, and then the last one will be 3. And why is that? Because my invalidation would be those higher or lower highs on that left-hand side over there. So guys, that really pretty much is about it from me. Make sure that you subscribe to the newsletter. I'm going to re-update what I mentioned about this in yesterday's chart. And to find that, all you need to do is go to Sheldon's Twitter. It's pinned to the top of his Twitter over there. And then you can subscribe to that newsletter on that side. If you have a look over here, I do have a funded account by Run. I'm not really too excited to use it yet, I must be honest, because I'm more sitting on my hands. But when the opportunity comes, I will let you guys know when to take the trade. Make sure that you click the link in the bio. So if you just go down below, you'll find everything. You got my Twitter, my Instagram, my BYBIT referral link. If you do wish to support me, that is one way that you can, is by using the BYBIT referral link if you are going to trade in any case. Oh, and you have the link for the newsletter below as well. So guys, that's it from me. I'm going to jump off. I will see you all tomorrow. I will also be doing one short video on the Crypto Shorts channel. So if you're not already subscribed to that, make sure that you head over that side. Give the video a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed over here. And until next time, I will see you guys all on tomorrow's video. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and cheers for now.